So I've been running this YouTube business for a few years now, and besides building furniture in the shop, all of my time spent inside the house either designing or video editing, but I've never actually had a real desk. All the tables that you've seen in my videos were either my dining table or these two headboards from a couple of IKEA beds I've had ever since college. And it really wasn't until after I brought my day job home with me that I realized just how much our surroundings have an impact on the way we think and the choices that we make. I feel that the less interest that we have in the job that we're doing, the more important it is to have a workspace that's built with purpose. And I feel that really starts with the desk. Spending a couple hours at the store and picked out two slabs with these giant voids and cracks because I really feel that these little large imperfections are what is really going to add to the uniqueness of the final piece. Now, once I got these slabs home, the first thing I had to do was get these guys flattened, which I did using a router jig. This was actually my first time doing this on something this large, and I'm not gonna lie, I was actually really terrified. Now, first of all, I knew if I screwed up, that would be like $800 down the drain. But I just went on to the YouTube Academy of Woodworking and got on with it. And the second thing that really terrified me was using this giant amount of 2.5-inch diameter flattening bit that I got from Tools Today, who happen to be the sponsor of this video, but more about them later. Using this bit really scared the shit out of me because once I turned the router on, it just felt like a fan blowing all of this dust straight up toward my face. But this bit just chewed through all that wood like it was butter, so the tool ended up handling really smooth. Once I got that first surface completely flattened, I flipped the slab over and did it all over again to the other side. Now, I knew this was going to be a really messy operation going in, but man, I was not prepared for just how messy it got. So, pro tip, tighten your pants because sawdust will get in there, and that is not what you want getting into your pants. Did I just say that? I just said that, didn't I? Oh, jeez. It's so embarrassing. I think it took me a total of 8 hours across 2 days to flatten both slabs, just mainly because how I film my videos, which could easily double the amount of time for me to complete every step. Now, once they were flattened though, I needed to figure out how I wanted to place these pieces. So I ended up making a template with some scraps which I could then lay on top of the slabs to help me visualize some different designs. And once I found what I liked, I could then just trace the outline of the template onto the slabs and break them down using my track saw. And if you've been following my stuff for a while, you know that I don't like symmetry. So I end up laying these slabs at an angle with this slab positioned so that this wonderfully weird void is right next to me where I can always see it. I just love this thing. And then I really like how the gap between these two slabs kind of starts wide and then narrows down and then widens again, but then kind of stays consistent throughout the rest of the length. And this angle allows this piece to just kind of fades away as it approaches the corner. And finally, this small piece over here was sort of a spur of the moment choice because without it, I have to buy another gallon of epoxy and I'm kind of cheap, so I end up adding that piece of wood there. But now I can't even imagine this desk without it. So I guess it turned out to be a pretty good design choice. After I cut the slabs to the shapes I needed, I had to remove all of the bark and any other loose pieces from the wood to ensure that we get a good bond between the epoxy and the wood. So I used the chisel to remove most of it and then came back with a 60 grit sandpaper on my random orbital sander just to make sure that everything was cleared off. After which it was time to start building the form for the epoxy pour, which I made with 3/4 inch MDF. And I ended up cutting the base about 1/2 inch larger along the length and the width just to give myself some room for screw-ups. And the four walls were cut 1 inch taller than the thickness of the desk to avoid epoxy overflowing. Then I wrapped all of what will be the inside surfaces of the form with sheathing tape to prevent the epoxy from sticking to the mold. Because if that happened, I think you can imagine just what a nightmare that would be. Then I applied sealant along the surfaces where the base and the walls meet before attaching them. And then I applied another bead along the seam after the form form was assembled, because the viscosity of this deep pore epoxy stuff is almost like water. So if there's a gap, it's gonna try and get into it. And the last thing you want is to come out to the shop the next morning and find like $1,000 worth of epoxy on your floor. So yeah, take your time and just treat this thing like it's an aquarium and seal everything. Afterwards, I placed the wood pieces down into the form, and to avoid wasting too much epoxy, I applied a bead of caulk around the smaller cracks, which acts as a dam to keep the stuff from spilling out too far, especially if I'm pouring too fast. But this epoxy really does get everywhere, so I really should have applied along every single edge, but lesson learned for next time. With that done, it was time for what I think was the most fun, if not most satisfying part of the build, and that's pouring the epoxy. And the epoxy I used was the ThickSet deep pour epoxy from Totalboat, which allows me up to 1 inch per pour for a large project, so it's definitely formulated for this purpose. Now, full disclosure, when Totalboat heard that I was building this desk, they actually sent me 4 of the 6 gallons required for this project, and then I bought the other 2 gallons. Since this was my first epoxy river table, I can't really compare this formula to any of the others that's on the market, but what I can say is everything came out great. I followed the directions as close as I could and didn't really experience any issues. Now, the pigment I used was Black Onyx by Black Diamond. I just absolutely love this pigment because it's a really dark black, but it has this pearl mixed in, which just adds a lot of depth compared to just a flat black. Flat black. And it looks different depending on where the light is coming from. It's really gorgeous, and it perfectly complements the walnut. And since my final thickness is 1.5 inches, I had to do 2 pours anyway, so I ended up doing 3/4 of an inch for each pour, and I definitely ended up making a mess. So yeah, apply caulk around all of the edges. But I'd say my first large epoxy project came out pretty successful. It was actually an extremely fun and relaxing thing to do, and at this point I just had to wait 5 to 7 days for this thing to cure. And it was kind of nice to step away from the shop for a few days and really think about what steps I needed to take next, because there was definitely still a lot of things left to do. Like, once I took the top out of the mold, it was time to clean up the surfaces using the flattening jig. But this time I didn't need to use shims because the bottom was already flat. I found that by taking shallower passes and keeping the feed rate slower gave me a cleaner surface across the epoxy. But not too slow though, or it might heat up the epoxy. Just thought I'd throw it out there and let you try it out yourself. But man, I think it was at this moment, after everything's been cleaned up, that I finally breathed a sigh of relief, because before this, it was all just an image in my head of how I hoped it would look. But after the surfaces were revealed, I knew that I made the right decisions as far as design went. At least, I think so. So it felt pretty good. After a congratulatory pat on the back, I used my track saw to clean up the edges as well as cut the desk to its final size, which came out to be 80 inches long by 28 inches deep. Now, the reason why I went with 28 inches instead of the regular 30 inches was because I always felt that there was just a little too much space between the monitor and me. I always found myself sitting with the edge of the desk pressed up against my ribs. And at the same time, 24 inches just felt too close. So 28 inches was perfect for me. But anyway, I did find that 1.5 inches looked a little too thick, so I ended up adding a 40-degree chamfer along all of the edges. I don't know why I went with 40 degrees instead of the regular 45 degrees I always use. I think I just sort of tilted my saw and just went with it. But I think it turned out pretty good. It really thinned out the profile and gave it a more modern look, which was what I was going for. After I used a 1/4 inch roundover bit to soften the edges, which I forgot to film apparently because I can't find any footage of it. Now, one thing about working with large slabs like these is that they're even more prone to twisting and cupping than dimensional lumber. So to help control that and provide additional support, I added a couple of C-channels underneath. With the desktop flipped over, I attached these by first using a 1/4 inch spiral bit in my router to cut 2 grooves that these flanges will sit into. I used my Festool track to guide the router, but you could pretty much use any straight edge and accomplish the exact same thing. If you're interested in any of these tools I used in the build, they were all provided by the sponsor of this video, Tools Today. They have a huge assortment of industrial grade cutting tools, including all of the blades and bits used in this build. I'm gonna leave a link to all of these in the descriptions below, so head on over to their website and check them out. Thanks to Tools Today for sponsoring this video. So after cutting the smaller grooves, I swapped over to a 1/2" bit to route out the thickness of the web. That way the C-channel can sit flush to the desk. And these will just be attached with bolts, so I drilled some holes for attaching the threaded inserts into the desktop. And what's great about these C-channels is that they already have slots cut into them, which allows for the wood to expand and contract while still keeping everything flat. I'm gonna leave a link in the descriptions for these as well if you're looking to buy these for your project. But with that done, it's time to work on the legs. Okay, so technically they were given to me by Uplift Desk. I've been wanting a sit-stand desk for like 3 or 4 years now. Besides all of the obvious health benefits that come with using these, I just always found that I feel like this might come off a little bit douchey, but I always found that changing my posture in the middle of work gave me this new burst of energy and focus. So even after I started working from home full-time, I used a cheap adjustable laptop stand, which didn't really work. It took a lot of effort to adjust, it slipped around, and not to mention, it really just cluttered up my work surface. So obviously, I was really excited to get these for the build. And so after I unpacked it, I positioned the frame on the desk and made sure that it's all squared up. Then I laid out where the bolts needed to go and once again just installed some threaded inserts into the bottom surface of the desk, and that's it. Now I still had some more things to do under the desk, so I left the legs off for now. One of those things is adding hidden wireless charging. I went with this UTS-1 charger by Q Labs, which can charge through any non-metallic surface up to 1 inch thick. Now I made a whole review video about this thing, so I'm gonna drop a link up here in this corner for you guys to check out if you want more information about it. Anyway, since the top is 1.5 inches thick, I still had to route out a pocket for this charger to sit into. Now I did that by first modeling a template using Shaper 3D and then cut it out of a piece of scrap MDF on my CNC. Then I put a guide bushing on my router and cut the pocket by following that template. And not gonna lie, I was actually surprised that it came out to be a perfect fit the first time. But what wasn't perfect was I wish this charger was placed a little further away to make reaching for my phone a little bit more difficult. But the C-channel would have gotten in the way of that. So in hindsight, I should have fixed the position of the charger first before placing the C-channel, but you know what they say, hindsight is always 20/20. So this is just another lesson for future builds. Anyway, I went ahead and sanded everything. I started from 80 grit and went all the way through to 320 on both the top and bottom surfaces. And this thing just came out absolutely gorgeous. And I set the desktop aside for now to start working on the drawer. And I was definitely going to use the Blum tandem drawer slides because they're hidden underneath and they soft close. There are a few really good tutorials online about how to measure and install these, but I noticed that people always cut the notch for the drawer slide using a handsaw and router after the drawer box has been assembled. But what I do is I actually use my dado set and cut the 2 notches in the back panel before I assemble everything. I think this is just a much more efficient way to do it, especially if you're making a lot of drawers, and it certainly does make the cuts a lot cleaner. And to attach the slide mechanism under the drawer, I had to drill a couple holes in the box. I bought a jig for this, but you can make these jigs yourself pretty easily. The receiving side of these slides would then attach to, if we're making a cabinet, they would attach to the side panels of the cabinets. But since we don't have any side panels, I ended up attaching a couple of pieces of wood to the desk using glue and pocket screws. And then the slides can just mount to those. This made installing the drawer really easy because I just had to space these to match the size of the drawer box, so I didn't really have to be super precise with the dimensions of the drawer box itself. So when it came time to making the drawer front, I really didn't want to just slap on a flat piece of wood. To me, that's like putting on a $3,000 suit with some Crocs. I mean, no offense to Crocs or anything, but you know what I mean. I really wanted to make something that matched the aesthetics of the tabletop. So once again, I used my iPad to design something and then carved it out on the CNC. You can find that entire tutorial, including my whole design process within Procreate and then Shaper 3D and how I set everything up on the CNC to carve the drawer front by clicking this link up here. Now, I'm not sure if this design was quite, 100% what I was going for at the time, but It's certainly unique, and most importantly, the curves complement the shape of the slabs. And when I cut the drawer front to size, I left a lip on the bottom to help with opening the drawer, so there was no need to add any handles in the front, which just keeps everything really clean. I used Odie's oil to finish everything on this project. It was probably the best smelling finish I have ever used. It's got this really nice citrus smell, and it's all organic, so I didn't even need to wear gloves. I only wore them because I didn't want to get oil on my camera. But the application wasn't quite as pleasant. The instructions suggested using a very small amount of oil and just really rub it into the wood. And to do that, it was a workout. I was definitely sweating by the end of it, but it was totally worth it though. I definitely recommend trying out this finish if you plan to do a build like this, if you don't mind, breaking a sweat. Now, once the finish has had some time to cure, I brought everything inside to attach the legs, which was pretty straightforward because I already got the threaded inserts installed. Also, Uplift Desk sent me a bunch of wire management accessories to tuck away all those wires under the desk, leaving only the one from the surge protector coming out of the back. Also, check out my previous video on how I made these holders for my Thunderbolt dock and the laptop, because these two things really helped to give me that clean and minimal look that I was looking for. Now, besides wishing to change the position of the wireless charger, the other thing I'd like to change if I have some time is move the drawer to the side, because with it being in the middle, it does occasionally get in the way. It's not too terrible, but sometimes if I rotate my chair, the armrest will hit the drawer, and it makes placing my foot on my chair leg kind of difficult, but maybe that's a good thing. But since these walls were, glued in, it's pretty much permanent. I probably need to use like a multi-tool or something to cut these off in order to move it, but then I also have to take everything off the desk, flip this thing over, and reattach those two walls. And okay, now that I'm saying that out loud, I don't think I'm ever gonna do it. So if you plan on building your desk, just keep that in mind for your build. But besides that, I can't say enough about how well this thing came out. I finally have a real desk to work on, and it looks absolutely amazing. And just knowing that I built this, it feels really incredible. And I just want to give a big thanks to all the companies who supported this project. And most of all, I want to thank my audience for watching my videos. So thanks guys, and so alright, now it's kind of awkward. I don't know how to end this video, so I'm just gonna, excuse me.